Yo, yo, yo. Hey, guys, welcome back to another awesome edition of the Best Practices Show. You ever thought to yourself, how is dental marketing going to change in the future? I have, and I'm wondering about it too. So today I bring on two experts, Dr. Christian Coachman and Brendon Macdonald from DSD, Digital Smile Design, and they share how dental marketing will completely change in the years ahead and how you can position yourself for that change. Please listen up. I know you guys will enjoy it, and we'll see you soon. Hey guys, welcome back to the Best Practices Show podcast. Here is another installment of the regular conversation I've been having with Dr. Christian Coachman from the DSD movement. And today, this could be one of my most favorite of all time. And I don't even know what we're going to be talking about because it's one of those things none of us can get our arms around, which is the marketing revolution. I think we could all agree things are changing, but we don't know how they're changing or what's going to change. So I brought on two experts to help us decode where the heck is this all going. So Christian and Brendon, thank you guys for being on. Christian, I'd love for you to just, introduce yourself, and Brendon, what you guys do. And then I would also like you to describe the clock concept that if you guys are interested, go back to some previous episodes. You're going to see we discussed the clock concept. We left out one piece. It's the pre-purchase, which is the marketing piece, which we're going to cover today. So Christian, bring us into this conversation.
Okay, glad to be back. Really exciting every Tuesday to discuss topics with brilliant minds. And of course, I'm biased because I'm bringing the CEO of my company here with me, but I know Brendon since exactly 10 years this year. First, I was a client of Brendon. He was one of the few marketing agencies exclusively focused in dentistry, more than 10 years ago. And that's how we connected. He helped me develop the DSD brand during that time, develop the brand of my courses during that time. And as you know, the DSD courses really exploded all over. And it was also because of the work that we did together. After that, we became partners. We joined our companies. We merged. So my DSD company, his marketing agency became one. And that's why today, that's already 5-6 years ago.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. And we are very proud of the marketing that we do here at DSD, marketing that we do for ourselves, that people all over the world talk about it, marketing that we do for our clinics, that we help clinics build their marketing strategy, their branding, positioning, communication strategies. It's one of the key pillars of the support that we give for our certified clinics network. But even more than that, very proud of the marketing that we support big companies. Some of the big players in the dental industry are actually hiring us. And this was not at the beginning our main plan. But we are very proud to say that some of the top brands in dentistry today are using us as a secondary marketing agency or a support strategic coaching firm in terms of communication, connected to education, connected to product development, connected to go-to-market strategies. And as you probably noticed already, Kirk, became one of my passions. Communication was a passion. Marketing also became a passion. And I'm very lucky to have Brendon with me, and we became very close, not only friendship, but also at work. We sit very close to each other here in the company. And since 6 years, we've been exchanging ideas every other day And I've been learning so much from him. And many of the ideas that I bring to the DSD courses about communication, I learned from Brendon. We developed many ideas together. And one of them, I remember the moment he explained to me the clock concept, and it was an aha moment because I immediately saw the connection with DSD, the 3 moments of the DSD journey, and the 3 moments of the client journey from the clock concept perspective, and how we adapted this into dentistry. And we really explain in details last podcast what is the clock concept and what are the 3 moments of the clock concept and which one you should focus first. But as I told you when we were before going live, I think we want to hear from Brendon, his explanation of what is the clock concept, and his explanation of why there is a moment that is more important than the others, and then a second moment that is more important than the third. But then at the end, we want to deep dive into the third moment because it's also part of the process. So, Brendon, mic is yours.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks. It's really exciting to be on the show today. Apart from what you want me to talk about, I'm excited to share the culmination of about 6 months of deep research about this thing called generative AI and what impact it's going to have on us. It's my new hobby, is learning AI and being.
I told Brendon I'm so lucky. 6 months ago, Kirk, when there was this explosion about AI, and it was almost similar to the COVID explosion. Like oh my God, again, disruption, and I was like, I don't have the energy to even start learning about AI. I'm in trouble. But then I have Brendon, and Brendon is doing all the research that makes me very comfortable that I will always be ahead of the curve because we are together. So that's the advantage that I have by having, one of the advantages by having Brendon. But anyway, that's the AI moment that was huge and is going to be part of our conversation as well, right?
Yes, exactly. And I think I'm obsessed with generative AI. I understand its impact, and the good news is I'm going to share with you for the first time to anybody, not even to Christian. Christian hasn't heard the framework that we're going to talk about and what are the steps to do to keep ahead of this disruption that's going to happen, and not feel overwhelmed and see it as empowering as opposed to a fearful event that's happening. So, we cut to the end. I think there's good news. It's not all bad news for all the listeners.
What you just said, that this is super, super fresh out of the oven. You never shared this. You've been building this. You've been working day and night, literally.
Yes. Because
tomorrow you fly to US.
Yes.
Because on Friday, for the first time, you're going to give a course specifically about this to all the DSD clinics network. So everything is very fresh.
Yes.
And ready to go because you don't want to mess up in front of the clinics.
No, I don't.
So this is a beautiful rehearsal.
Indeed. So you guys want to talk about the clock model first, and then we can talk about what I believe we need to be focused on going forward. So the clock model is a decision framework used when building brand. So as we know, brand is not any one thing. It's not a logo. It's not a design. It's actually every interaction with your patient or your prospective patient. That's brand building. So as Christian has mentioned many times, it's about how you greet somebody. It's how quickly or how friendly you answer the phone. It's the waiting room. It's your social media. It's everything all together. And basically it's a gut emotion that your patient has with an interaction with the brand, right? And so the challenge you have is you don't have one brand. You have a brand every patient has. And so that's why the clock model really helps you understand which brand building activities to tackle first, because it's about understanding which activities will give you the fastest return on investment. So if we all have finite resources, so we don't have money, unlimited resources. So for my $1,000, I need to look at the clock model and say, where will I invest my money to build my brand the most efficient and effective way. And as Kirk and Christian, you spoke about last time on the podcast, you spoke about that the most effective and efficient use of your money initially is going to be on the purchase moment. You master that moment, you'll get great return, you'll build amazing brand with that. Then on the second moment to invest in is the post-purchase moment, the after case acceptance, the treatment, how the treatment goes, the referral program, all that stuff that you guys spoke about. And then finally, when you've mastered those two moments and everything is covered, then we can look at the moment you guys didn't talk about, or you didn't finish explain.
And as we mentioned,
which is the pre-purchase moment.
We see that usually we have the tendency to invert this prioritization, right?
Yes, because it's leads. We need to generate leads.
We need to generate leads. Everybody's crazy about marketing, social media, paying, as you said, Kirk, paying a lot of money and for no results. Everything is a confusion when it comes to marketing, and many people are angry at marketeers, right? They don't call marketeers with good names, and everybody has their frustrations. And how can you find a good agency? And of course, there are bad agencies, there are bad marketeers. There are a lot of people out there saying that they know stuff and they don't know. And even if they know about marketing, the dental world is very specific and peculiar. So you need to adapt that to the dental world. But on top of that, I think that the clock concept shows that before you invest in marketing, you need to invest on that moment, in-person moment, where you are starting the relationship, starting the trust, and building your plan and presenting your plan. Is in DSD what we call the first and the second appointment. In Apple, they call the Apple Store experience.
Yes.
And that is our number one inspiration, you know.
Did you mention that Samsung, it costs $400,000 to build a store, whereas an Apple Store, it's 18 million. That's how much they invest in that moment.
I didn't mention that, but that summarizes the whole thing. Right?
So that's the difference on how much they value the Apple Store experience, because the idea of the Apple Store experience originated with from Steve Jobs, because he saw his initial iPod and iPhone inside Best Buy, I think it was. And he said, oh my gosh, my beautiful products, I can't control the environment. It's being put next to other products. It's being devalued. And so he realized in that moment that I need to just build my own experience, my own environment, so that I can position my product in the right light, which is what DSD does, right? It's about positioning yourself to the patient so that you can get the positive case acceptance, right? And that's the key.
So the experience right around the moment that you're going to decide to invest on it, yes or no, needs to be as good as the quality of your treatment. That is the key. Of course, that there are many people out there that can master the purchase moment and do bad dentistry. That's the reason why I always say, actually, to deserve to benefit from the purchase moment, you need to be a good dentist first. Because if you do a great purchase experience, you're going to convince almost anybody to do anything. That's how powerful it is. And that's why I call it the magic. That's why you made a note, Kirk, about that's the magic. So the first moment of the clock is marketing. Second moment is the magic. And the third moment is the treatment, right?
Delivering on the promise.
Yeah. So take us through this. It's scary to think about this, but let's say I'm really working with my team on those two components, the purchase and the post-purchase. Help me think about the why in the bigger picture and the pre-purchase. And you also mentioned before we hit the go button, Brendon, there's 3 truths. So let's start with the big picture and then break it down for us.
Yeah, sure. So when we talk about the pre-purchase moments, there is actually a moment inside the pre-purchase moments that we aim for as businesses. And it's actually what we call the 0 moment of truth. It's that moment when somebody who is anonymous, who's been researching you, been trying to find out if they can trust you, whether you're the right individual and business to go and give their money to have the treatment, they give us their information, either in form of an email, as a message, in a telephone number or a message. That's the moment in the pre-purchase segment of the clock we are aiming for. That's the goal. That's
So basically everything you do in terms of communication, marketing, PR, social media, charity, word of mouth, anything that you do in this pre-purchase moment, your one goal should be to get information from people that you don't have information, a contact.
Yeah, because everything is about stages of intimacy. So, you have to earn the trust to move one step further along the intimacy journey.
It's the funnel, right?
Yeah, exactly. The ultimate intimacy is that they come and schedule an appointment and they come into your office. But there's steps before that. And the first major win for you in a pre-purchase moment is the individual makes themselves known to you in the form of an email address or a telephone number or something like that. And so how do we do that?
Let me ask you a question. So I love that. The zero moment of truth. Is it fair to say that's going to get harder and harder and harder? I'm not going to give my information to anybody. And we're going to talk about this in a minute, but I believe that trust will plummet as a result. And what we have to do as a brand is to build trust, which you said earlier. But so keep going. I don't want to interrupt you, but I think it's important to say the zero moment of truth isn't a static thing where, it's going to get harder and harder and harder for people to say, okay, I'll give you my information.
Yeah. I remember 10 years ago, how easy it was on Facebook to just write a good idea and ask people for connections and people would just come and connect. And
exactly.
Nowadays, things are changing so fast,
Yeah, so I think that's why I'm excited to share this message, because I think we are going to live through the biggest revolution of our time as individuals. It's going to be the most impactful thing that's ever happened. It's not just a technology innovation, it's an entire platform shift. It's going to produce so much economic value. It's going to produce so many changes in our lives, because generative AI, which is what the hype and what you guys might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed with, or that everybody's talking about, is this idea of large language models, which, if we explain it in easy to understand language, is basically a very smart robot that has a brain that helps and speaks to us and understands how to answer our questions. And it's basically going to be smarter, quicker, faster than a human brain. So anything relating to communication, computation, and creativity, generative AI is going to permeate and it's going to basically influence everything. Technology is no longer
it's going to spread,
exactly.
Right?
Technology is no longer going to be technology. It's going to be our interface to our lives. It's going to touch everything that we do in our life.
So you're just confirming, as you said, you've been researching this deep for 6 months at least, and you mentioned this, the biggest revolution of our lifetime. So just to put things in perspective, we went through TV, radio, internet, what else?
Social media.
COVID.
Social media.
Social media, and this is going to be much bigger, and the changes will be much bigger.
The impact is going to be bigger, and we're going to feel it more. And that's why it feels like this thing is all of a sudden just blown up, is because of the intersection of our whole lives. Because each innovation that happened to us before, the internet, the social media, it only did one element of our lives. So it wasn't as big an impact. But if you think about generative AI, it does language, it does computation, it does creativity, and it empowers individuals who use it to basically process, consume, and output content 10 times faster, 100 times faster. And so the possibilities are huge, and the impact is huge. And so that's why I say it's a big impact. So I think we're not going to talk about today about the bigger existential threats of AI. We put that to the side because no one knows. And to be honest, I've been following all the great minds. Half of them say nothing to worry about. The others say it's done. We have everything to worry about. So I'm going to put that to the side, and I'm just going to think about my immediate future. And I'm a very pragmatic type of individual. And I'm just going to say, okay, how can I use it from today? And that's what made me realize that I wanted to share with you guys, is that as a small business owner, as a dental clinic owner, there's kind of three truths that Kirk mentioned that we just have to accept, that we have to move forward. The first truth when it comes to our brand and promoting ourselves is that we are going to have to insource our marketing. We're going to have to find a system where our own team generate all our pre-purchase marketing activities. So I'm talking about blogs, social media updates, video content production, creation, etc. You will not be competitive or sustainable if you continue to pay your agency to do those activities, because your competitor or your office next door or down the road, if they insource, they have a huge advantage over you. And so
you need
that's
to
the first
find
thing.
your stories.
Yes.
You need to develop your stories. You need to produce your stories. You need to edit your stories, and you need to share and spread your stories
With your own team.
with your own team.
You cannot outsource that because it doesn't make any sense. I'm an ex-agency owner, so I'm sorry if there are other agency owners here. But if I had an agency still, I would be finding a way to teach clinic owners how to leverage AI and coach them how to insource models. That's what I would be doing, because that's the only future for you.
Let me,
Yeah.
just need to tell you
Yeah.
something. You still have a marketing agency, and we are moving into teaching people how to leverage that.
So
it's not only a marketing.
So, but some practical advice on the insourcing, outsourcing, because that's a grand kind of idea, right? I think if we were to break down the practical marketing activities, if you currently doing marketing and you're paying an agency, if you list what you should be trying to start to insource and what you should keep as outsourced, I think the solutions at the moment aren't at some activities you still need to outsource. And mainly it's going to be paid media. So if you pay Meta, so Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, as well as Google Ads, then just keep outsourcing that. Because at the moment, the solutions aren't there yet for your team to manage that successfully, because
So the human know-how of that person that is an expert on that is still valuable.
Not necessarily. It's more about the technical capabilities of the platform, because the platforms are very technical in how you manage and use them. And so you need to have very distinct experience how to manage the platforms. But I do think that in the future, you will be able to tell Google, I want this type of patient with this, and it will do it automatically. That's coming, 100% it's coming. It's just a matter of,
if you can do it, anybody can do it.
That's what I'm saying. So you were paid media managers, all that, unfortunately, you're gonna have to become coaches, because there's no more running paid media campaigns. The other one is setting up websites. At the moment, I would still pay someone who has know-how because of the technical aspects of the domain, getting the template up and ready, all that sort of stuff. Don't get your team to learn that, because you do it once and then you optimize your website afterwards. But the rest needs to be insourced. SEO, local SEO, social media updates, blog post writing, video creation, email marketing, all the tactics that you might be aware of, that is done by an in-house individual leveraging the AI tools that are there, as well as a system. So that's truth number one. Insource. You have to insource your marketing.
So you need to start researching and learning how AI can help you make it without going crazy, without wasting too much time.
No, that's number three. The third truth is to leverage the tools, the AI tools that are available to you, because the generative AI is about automation, augmentation, and acceleration. Those three things. Because if you use them correctly, you accelerate your output, you accelerate your consumption and reasoning and processing. And it's not hard, because that's what I've been learning, is trying to understand how to bring across this complex field to dental office team members in an easy to understand way, not because I'm smart, but because I understand the realities of running a practice. They're not agencies, and they can't sit down and write code and be complex in the way that they process stuff. So there is a way to make it super simple, and the tools are evolving so quickly that it's becoming an easier to do. So I think those two truths, they kind of match each other. You need to develop a resource dedicated to doing your content marketing and leveraging AI, and then you need to leverage the AI tools. You need to accept, adopt, and be excited by them, not fight them and kind of put your head in the sand, which is the favorite form of marketing, right? Ostrich marketing. You put your head in the sand and pretend there's nothing that's wrong, right? So
yeah. Now, as you guys are listening to this, I want you to hear truth number 2, because truth number 2 for me gives us the why. It brings together where it's going, how to do it, and number 2 is really the why that brings it all together. So share.
Yeah, and then yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it's about. I think with the advent of cheap content creation and the ease of the output that you're going to be able to do this with, and the tools that are going to help you do it, you need to have a sales and marketing strategy that at its fundamentals outperforms tactics. Your strategy always outperforms tactics, right? And so the strategy you need to focus on from a sales and marketing perspective is this idea of becoming the most trusted voice in your space. You have to obsess about educating your patients. You have to obsess about transparently sharing the good, the bad, and the ugly of everything that you do. You have to compare. You have to talk about prices.
Less BS, more straight to the point.
You need to talk about the things that dentists don't want to talk about. You need to show the things that dentists don't want to show. And you need to sell like you've never sold before, which is just education. And so there is a framework that we have. And
just to trust is going to become so important exactly because of the volume that you're going to have, you know. Everybody's going to be able to create stories. You press buttons and there's stories, there's pictures, there's content, millions and millions of things that you're exposed.
You talk about it in the emotional game. You have a concept that you developed, which is every interaction, you either earn a positive credit or a negative credit, right? And so earning trust is about earning as many positive credits as you can. And so if you're answering questions, key questions, you know that I have an anonymous person on every step of my journey, I'm getting more green positive emotional credits, so that 0 moment of truth is much more likely to happen than if not. And so you, in your pre-purchase moment, you have to obsess about all the activities and tactics that you know will earn trust. Because Kirk, what percentage do you think someone's buying decision is made before the 0 moment of truth, before they contact you? If you were to guess from 0 to 100, what do you think? What's the percentage?
I would say it's really low, 5%, 10% maybe. Or am I wrong?
Let me rephrase that. When someone actually contacts you, so Act Dental, when they fill in the form to contact you, how much of their buying decision to work with you is already decided? What would you say? Oh,
I thought you meant before that moment happens. Once you've filled it out, and we live in a world where I don't want to give anybody my phone number. I don't want to give anybody my email address. I already get way too many emails. It's a bunch of crap. I'm only giving that information to somebody that I'm truly interested in. And I will tell you
99%.
99%. So I'm going to change my answer. It would be very high because I've already perused their website. I've already been there for 5 or 10 minutes. It looks like something that could possibly help me. And I'd say it's very high, 95, 99%. Correct?
Yeah. On average for patients, obviously you guys are slightly different. It's 80% of the buying decision is made when they've filled in that form. So the final 20% is just about understanding the details that you couldn't share on the website, the specifics about my problem, my situation. It's, I can trust you. You've shown me that you can solve my problem. You've shown me that I'm the right fit for you. Now it's just about the specifics of what needs to happen, the next steps. And normally it goes very quickly. And so if that is the case, that 80% of a buying decision is made before we even know them or they contact us, then how important do you think that pre-purchase marketing activities about earning trust is?
It's huge. It's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah. Let me add.
That's why marketing doesn't work. That's why everybody hates marketers, because they don't put in the time to do those 80%, because their marketing is just direct response, offer, fill in the form.
All right. I want to go back to something you said before we hit the go button. You said this: we can't overstate its impact. You said it's going to be bigger than internet, TV. Both of you have said this. And you said it's going to be much easier for brands to generate content. So now as a listener, I want you guys to think about this. People are going to be able to use AI and just generate incredible amounts of content. So as a user, let's say I'm a patient, I'm going to get flooded with all of this stuff. It's going to have the right phrases. It's going to have the right context. It's going to have the right words. It's going to have the right images. Yes. And in order to survive that, now I'm going to add one more complexity to it, and then I want you to help us decode this. In the United States, there was a documentary published called Social Dilemma, and it was frightening to watch.
Yes.
With the movement of social media, what ultimately happened was trust plummeted. We don't trust anybody. We don't even believe sometimes. It created more isolation than anything. And I think the makers of social media, true to the documentary, said that is what's going to happen. Is it true to say that AI will create something similar where it'll be going so fast? I told my kids this. Tell me if this is true. You're going to get a phone call probably from me someday, and it's going to be, honey, I need some money. Come pick me up. And you're going to go, I don't think that was dad. It sounded like dad.
It's already happening. Yeah.
It's already happening. And I also had a dentist call me, and he's like, I called the medical office and I talked to somebody. I don't think it was a human. It was really good though. So that freaks me out. But on the other hand, let's stay in the positive realm. What that means for us is that transparency, trust is going to be the brand currency. True or false?
Well, that is the currency of all business, is trust, right? Every business trades on trust. If I don't trust you, I'm not coming to see you, and I'm not giving you money, regardless of AI or anything. The currency of business is trust. And so in the advent of this wall of information that's going to potentially flood us, yes, we need to demonstrate trust. And actually our most important entity is going to be our website now. So
really?
Your website is going to be your number one salesperson.
I think it's going to be.
Why is that? Why?
Almost like the only thing besides in person saying something to somebody, the website is a place that, okay, let me go to the website because I just saw a post talking about this product. I don't really know if that's true.
Yes.
Let me go to that website, because the domain for them to hack the whole domain and so I want to see if that company is really saying that on their homepage, right?
Yep.
And just one comment, more philosophical here. I think we are going full circle here, Kirk. I don't know if you guys agree, but 500 years ago, you wanted to send a message, you needed to send a guy running from one village to the other village, and the guy was going and saying with their own words, you need to do this because that guy said whatever.
Yeah.
And then since then, writing and paper developed. Then you can send a letter, and the other one will trust because there's your signature. And then of course you have telegraph, and you have you trust that information because somebody sent you that message. Then you have TV, radio, everything that happened that really multiplied, facilitated the communication and the trust, making sure that your message could go out there. But at one certain point, and I think internet kind of started with that at the same time that they were facilitating communication, it was starting that process of people saying, but I don't know if I can trust this, right? And you saw that movement starting and getting worse to the point that smart people don't trust social media, right? You cannot. And then suddenly you're gonna not start to trust of videos, voice messages on WhatsApp, on the messaging of somebody, of a friend. People hacked my account, so you don't trust that anymore. Now you cannot trust things that look really real, right? And so we are kind of going back to the point that, I don't know, it sounds like in 10 years, if I really want to tell you something, Brendon, I'm gonna walk to your home, knock your door and say, Brendon, I need to say you this, right? And I couldn't say through a message, I couldn't send you email because I know you wouldn't trust.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's a good point there, because we are going back on certain things that are the human connection, that is shaking hands, looking in the eyes. If you really want to make a deal with me, come sit with me and have a conversation. So just thinking loud here. So it's trust. It's about trust. And I think that that's the marketing, the best marketing possible.
I think it's easy to say that, but I think the reality is that it's very intentional how you build trust in a pre-purchase moment. So the purchase and the post-purchase moment, we covered that, and that's how we do that moment. On the pre-purchase moment, you need to look at your website as your number one asset, right? Because it's actually an employee that never sleeps, doesn't take vacation, and works for you 24/7. That's the reality. And so how do I develop this website to become a really trusted advisor? Because that's what you want that person to be, to feel when they go to the website. So how do I do that on my website? What's the practical tips? Talk about the 5 topics that no one wants to talk about. Cost, comparisons, the best of, problems with. Even though I sign up for orthodontic treatment, what could happen?
Yeah.
This is what people want to know. They want to understand these things. Talk about those topics. No one ever wants to talk about the topics, and there's multiple topics on treatments that you can talk about. You need to do a culture of video. You need to create video, more video than ever before. You know that 90% of all internet users, the only content they consume is video. So in a week, 90% of the content they consume is video. So as a business, you have to learn how to insource your video production, because that's the way to win. It's about the trust. I hear and see the team. I start to earn a little bit more trust.
It's easier to Photoshop a photo. It's not easy to fake a video, right?
Yes. And then the final piece was you need to build your website and think of a human, not think of the search engines. And so it's a bit of a challenge, because everybody says, what is the SEO tactics, or what are the keywords that I need to create? And it's like, no, think about your patient, think about what they want to know the answers to. And guess what? You will be rewarded by the platforms, because guess what? They're looking for trust indicators. Trust indicators are, I come back to your website multiple times. I stay on your webpage and I read for a very long time. I watch website videos. I share. I do all these sort of things. And that's not an SEO tactic. That is, I think about my patients. I think about all the questions that they will have in the journey to becoming my patient, and I answer those questions.
It's funny because it's making us more humans as we think about digital marketing, connecting to the things that really matter.
Yeah, the irony is that if you don't think technically about SEO, it'll take care of itself, as long as you just keep thinking about what are the questions that I get asked. And we get asked questions every single day by our clients and our patients. We're just not listening. Every time I'm sitting and I hear my client ask me a question, I'm like, to the team, hey guys, this is a question. Have we got an article about this? Should we do a video? Should we ask Christian to do this? So we at DSD are going through this transformation on our website. I encourage everyone to go look at our website. We are answering questions. We are putting videos at every stage of the journey. We have a learning center, learning hub. I really encourage you to really look at our website, because that's the blueprint essentially on how to develop trust.
Learn how to listen. Also, something I learned from you, learn how to understand in which part of the journey the person is, because it's not only about pre-purchase, purchase, but each moment has sub moments right, in that journey. That people are asking different questions in different ways in each part of the journey. So you need to feed the funnel with trust, with transparency, straight to the point, but differentiating the content according to the moment of the journey. And on top of that, customize this for your buyer persona that you and your team need to decide is the type of people that you want to attract.
Exactly. And I think, Kirk, where it's all going, because I had the question the other day, which was, okay, so I produce 150 blogs a week. Who's going to read all those 150 blogs, right? And I said, it doesn't matter, because where I see marketing going for any small business or any dental office is that the big challenge with ChatGPT and the large language models as a whole is that great processes of language, computation, and creativity. So they process very well. So you take raw text and they can predict and write longer text, basically, because that's all that LLMs are. They just fancy autocomplete. It's like you put a bit of text and then it basically makes longer text. That's what it does. It's not the source of truth. And so the advantage dentists have is that you need to feed it with your source of truth and it will process the information. So what that means is that if you write the blog posts or you help let AI write the blog post for you, you in the future, this is what's going to happen probably within the next 6 to 12 months. Every website is going to have an agent or a chatbot that my patient is not going to look for information. It's going to ask the chatbot a question. And then that chatbot is going to reference my answers, not ChatGPT, and it's going to interact with me like it would be a human. And so it will be the dental clinic assistant, the front office assistant, and you'll be confident that the answers it gives are the right answers because the answers it's reading and processing are your contents. So that's why you need to start to develop the content, because you want your chatbot to be very specific to you and give the right information.
So it's basically like you want your AI to learn from you and not learn from the internet.
And the good news is that there are tools for less than $5 a month that do that. You say, read my website, and then when someone asks a question, answer them, but use my website content as an answer. So do you take insurance? What insurance do you take? What's the cost of the implants? You can give it all your information and it feels like it's a person speaking to you. It's going to be actually a better experience for us. So to go back to your question, like how aren't we going to be overwhelmed? Aren't we going to be flooded? I do believe it's going to be a better experience for the patient if the business gears themselves to have a source of truth. So the patient doesn't have to read a blog or search through information. It just asks its questions and we have the answers and say, here we go. And I get my answer quickly. And I develop the trust at superpower.
I'm loving this conversation. And I told you guys before we hit the go button, this could be a 2-hour conversation. So I want to be respectful of your time. I have 3 questions. I want you to answer them in any order. And then we can put a bow on this. We're going to do a follow-up. Christian, you're planting so many seeds that we have to do follow-ups too. All right. 1 year from today, we're having the same conversation. What has changed? That's question number 1. Question number 2, ChatGPT. Now I don't even know where to go. There's so many AI solutions. Every single day I get 7 different things coming at me. AI. Is ChatGPT still the standard? And question number 3 is, I want to come to your course. Maybe answer that one last. What are you going to teach me if I'm a dentist and I come to the DSD course that you're teaching? So maybe do the first 2 and then finish with the third.
Okay, cool. So the question number 1 is, in 1 year, what has changed?
Yes.
I think what has changed is that AI is not a differentiator anymore. It's become a commodity and is the thing that avoids my business from disruption. It helps transform and keep me with the pack. So the only change is going to be that it's more embedded and everybody's using it. At the moment, there's still a first mover advantage. So I think those businesses and business owners that move with the first principles of, this is a huge opportunity and it's a bit too complicated for people
for the majority. Yeah.
For the majority.
So this is a 12 months opportunity window.
I do believe because you have 12 months, you'll be ahead of the other tools. I do think that all the tools get much easier to use because the reality is that large language models are almost trained on all the publicly available data in the world. So I think by the end, in a couple of months, there'll be no more data for it to learn on. And so now it has to go to governments, it has to go to big companies to get the data. So the innovation on AI is just going to be on interface. It's not going to actually, the models aren't going to become smarter. It's more going to be easier to use. And so when you ask the question, like, how do I know what to ask it? Or people are going to develop tools that make it easy for us to harness the power of those. So it's going to be easier to use and it's going to be permeated in our business lives, 100%.
Yeah.
And probably in 1 year, people will, the solutions to find trust will be more solid. People will be more calm about it. There will be more rules and people will understand the few things that you can trust and the rest is entertainment. Don't take it seriously.
Yes.
I
think more people will use the tools.
We will mature in terms of what is serious and what is not.
Yeah.
And then the second question, what was
the sources of? So is chat? I mean, there's a lot of tools out there.
Yeah.
There's more, AI tools than I can count now, and I see 3 more a day. Is ChatGPT the standard? Because I think I heard you say, I think we've all got to start learning. Would you consider that the gold standard, ChatGPT?
So the way that the landscape works is that so ChatGPT is just a fine-tuned version of the bigger large language models. So there's about 3 big ones. Google created their version. There is the OpenAI one, and then there's another one called Lambda, I think. And basically those are the 3, and there's more trained models coming along. So basically the models, they're not that many actually, because it's very expensive to build a large language model. What you're experiencing is that people are basically building interfaces into that language model. So they're thinking of various ways to process and leverage the AI. So you have tools like Fathom. I see you have tools like Otter AI, you have writing tools, you have video tools. They're all using the same interface or the same model. They're just all the different tactics to make and ease your activity. So because there are 3 AI business modes that you look at AI when you say, where do I start or what should I use? The first one is how do I improve my efficiency, my internal efficiencies? So I'm looking to understand that in my business, what are the ways and the workflows that will improve my internal efficiencies? The second way is to improve your service. So you're looking at your product or your service, and you're going to augment it with a bit of automation, a bit of acceleration. And then the third way is that you're going to develop a whole new solution now that you have the capabilities of the AI. So for a dental office, I would be looking at the internal efficiencies, huge. There's many, to be honest, and it can touch every part of your business, from interviewing scripts, from, translating Google Sheets, your finances, to obviously the marketing that we've been talking about. I use it, to be honest,
interpreting
most days, translations,
data from patients.
100%. So I hope that answers your question. It's a big one. So ChatGPT, yes, it is the thing that everybody understands, because they were the first solution to make it easily accessible, the power of the models, because they created a chat interface. Before, you had to know what you were doing to pull out the outputs. They created like what we all used to, which is like a WhatsApp or iMessage interface where you interacted with the chat. So it is the thing that's developing. There'll be many more, but I would start there. Yes, 100%.
Yeah. And then lastly, question number 3 is, I want to come to your course. Where is it? What am I going to learn if I'm a dentist? How long is it? What are you going to teach? What are the components?
Start from why the course? What is the goal of the course?
Yeah. So as I started the journey of trying to understand the impacts of generative AI on businesses, first DSD and then on our DSD clinics, I started to realize that there was going to be a lot of overwhelm as well as fear. Will this replace me? Should I be scared? Those sort of questions. And so I wanted the marketing day to change the mindsets of the individuals and show them that to avoid the disruption that's going to happen, they need to think about ChatGPT as their assistant that doesn't replace them, but gives them superpowers, supercharges them. And so the marketing day is about helping the DSD clinics basically stay ahead by giving them what we call the trust catalyst system. It's basically a 3-pillar system where we teach you how to build the brand, we teach you how to earn the trust, and then finally how to leverage the AI and create your AI assistants. Because
multiply it.
Yeah. So those 3 elements, I believe, it covers the 3 main goals of the course: is how to learn how to insource your marketing so you never rely on a marketing agency again, and become the most trusted voice in your space, and generate more qualified leads. And I think that was the goal. And it's basically just to help them stay ahead and digest all the information that's coming to them, because every day, like you say, Kirk, there's 20 new solutions and they're all good. And so you need to have a framework, you need to have an understanding. It's actually what DSD does for the dentist. Is there are so many digital dentistry tools out there that have their own workflows. You need to understand your digital workflow, and then you can plug the tools in. And so that's kind of what this marketing day is about, is what is the workflow to insource my marketing, become the most trusted source. So then I will understand which tools will fit, because we will need the tools to leverage our productivity output. So
that's awesome. Now, if you're listening and you're not taking notes, don't worry. We're always taking notes. So you can flip up to the notes in Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify. You're going to see
AI is taking notes.
AI is taking notes right now. It's going to be links to everything we talked about. And one of the links I'm going to put in there, Brendon, is the course. Is it a 1-day course, 2-day course, 3? And where is it?
Yes, at the moment, there's one course in Miami. Probably when you listen to this, it's already been completed. It's a 1-day course. We go from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and we just basically discuss those 3 pillars and the action points you walk away with.
Create a second date already.
Yeah. We do have a second date in November, and it's going to be a live stream. And basically it's going to be over 2 weeks. And then we go through the same content, but in that format, because we have some clinics in Europe. And so that's quite spread out. Whereas in North America, it's much easier for us to have an in-person day, which I prefer. But so we'll have a live stream in November. The link will be there for everybody to check it out.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm going to include a link to that course, both courses. And I'm going to encourage you guys, you have to check it out. You also have to check out the entire website, DSD. We're going to put a link in there. So make sure you check it out and give us some last thoughts. Bring us home. Christian, Brendon, close us out here.
I think, I'm going to actually finish with that question that I made when we were offline, to Brendon, for us, the aha moment when we discovered the magic of the purchase moment, that is the real human experience during the first and the second appointment, the Apple Store brought into dentistry, right? When you're there already, 80% decided, but that 20% final that happens through the first and the second appointment, when you get the treatment plan and you saw the doctor live and you experienced the team and you drank the coffee, you listened to the music, you went through the whole thing. And we know that that's the moment that you become a fan or not. And that's the moment where you made the magic happen. So, and that's why the DSD course, the residency course, is focused on that moment, right? But we also know that if you are doing amazing at that moment, you then can go to the next step, that is going backwards and then mastering the pre-purchase with the tools that you're going to teach, because that's the ideal world. Of course, on top of all of this is that you are a great dentist, because otherwise you don't deserve to leverage these tools. So my question to you was, if I'm doing an amazing job on the purchase moment that has nothing to do with all we talked about here today, how much do I still need to worry about the pre-purchase?
I think the reality is that the big companies like Tesla and Apple have proved that you can just master the purchase and post-purchase moments and thrive and be the best in your area. Because at the end of the day, the strongest form of marketing is word of mouth, right? And in dentistry,
still the number one.
It's the number one reason why patients come to you, is because of the trust that their friends and family have instilled on you by recommending you to their friends and family, right? And so the word of mouth is the strongest form of marketing you can do. But obviously, if you want to impact more people, you want to reach more people. That's what I'm excited about. So I'm going to end off with saying that I'm an optimist normally. And so I'm going to be positive about this change. And I'm going to say that I'm really excited because it now unlocks the potential of everyone who is a good dentist to reach more people, because we're always, as dental owners, kind of always limited by the resources that you have available to you. And so your message, your good work doesn't get out, and you can't find enough people, you can't reach enough people. And I think now you have that possibility, you know, that the ability to spread the right message times 100. It's super exciting that more people should be getting dental treatment will now get that treatment, because your team are building trust, developing the content, and reaching those individuals. And that's the way I see it. And that's why I'm so excited to share this, because every clinic, I'm going to teach them how to create the content that all the patients are looking for, so that more and more people can kind of.
And it's very important to emphasize that you mentioned this is all going to become a commodity.
It's already a commodity.
It's going to become a new normal. So the gap, the opportunity gap, is 1, maybe 2 years max for you, because then it's going to become mandatory. Everybody's going to do the same.
Yes.
And then the differentiation will come from other factors. But what you're teaching, what you're going to start teaching now and for the next 12 months, is something that can really change your business if you take advantage of the first mover advantage in this matter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I think what's happening now is that a lot of marketing agencies will be selling services and using generative AI to deliver those services, unfortunately. And so you can save your money and invest it in your own team. So, you know, that's one of the first mover advantages, more sustainable. But
I love
another
this.
topic for another day.
That's another topic. I want to have you back again and again and again. We'll talk about other topics, but I had an epiphany. The word of mouth, that is so important, what you just said. I have a friend of mine, I won't tell you what studio, but he's a major marketing executive for one of the top major motion picture companies in the world. And he's told me, 90% of the success of any major motion picture is one thing.
Yes.
Word of mouth. We get it started, but what sustains it and grows it is somebody saying, you have to see it, and so I think what you're saying is gold. It's going to be the future, trust and word of mouth. And how do we pivot on this big transition that we're already in?
You have to see my dentist. That's the sentence.
Yeah.
So actually, Kirk, on just to finish on that note, I don't know if you've ever heard of the metric called earned growth rate.
No.
It's the metric you ask the patient that you've just had treatment with, or has accepted treatment. It's like, how did you hear about us? And if they say you were recommended or referred, you add those up compared to the offline, the pre-purchase, the paid media advertising.
Paid media patients.
And that rate determines the loyalty and the real health of your business, because obviously that's a rate you want to increase. You don't want it to be decreasing.
That's a huge topic. The key factor for the valuation of your practice
100%.
on the exit strategy. Smart buyers will tell you or not tell you, but they're going to do the math. 100% of your patients, they're going to divide your patients in 2 groups.
Yes.
The ones that came from paid media and the ones that came from word of mouth.
And it's a very simple thing to track. You just have to have your outtake form, and you just add up all the individuals that have said anything but the online marketing. And then one day you maybe demonstrate, this is the health of my business because I have a loyalty rating.
It means 2 clinics that are delivering the same quality,
yes,
but one did this research and this homework. Yeah. And can prove that 85% of the patients came from word of mouth.
It's much more valuable.
The other practice maybe has bigger revenue, but has 80% of the patients coming from paid media. If I'm an investor, I'm buying the practice that has 80% of the patients coming from
loyalty growth. Yeah, it's a loyalty rate. So.
Loyalty rate,
earned growth rate. That is brilliant. I love it. I'm going to start measuring that today. That's awesome. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I am so grateful. So stick around while we say goodbye to everybody else. But thank you guys for listening. I am just so grateful you're showing up and you're sharing. If you enjoyed today, which I know you did, just do us a favor, hit the share button. Share this with your friends. Keep sharing with your friends. I don't know how it's working, but it's growing and we love it. And we're going to keep bringing you more episodes with Dr. Christian Coachman, and we're going to get Brendon back whether he wants it or not. We're going to make him come back and tell us more great stuff. So until we see you guys next time, or you hear from us next time, keep watching or keep listening to the Best Practices Show. You guys enjoy your day.